Well, I learned this, and it's really been something that I've always used in my business after I learned this. So I hope this makes sense to you guys out there. And the way this was set up was really what happens is you can take your life and you can break it into different circles or layers. So what we have first, in this first layer right here, these are things that you're incompetent at. In other words, you can do it, but you're just not that good at it. Then there's things that you're competent at. Then there's things that you are excellent at. But more importantly, there are things in your world that you are superior at. Now, superior means you are better than anybody else that you know. So most people are given 3 gifts. So these 3 gifts, 1, 2, and 3, the question is, what are you superior at? If we actually build a schedule around what you're superior at, you're going to flourish no matter what you go into. So I know what I'm superior at, 1, 2, and 3. And then once you figure that out, and if you don't know what it is, you need to ask somebody that knows you and say, you know what am I better at than anybody else you know? Doesn't matter if it's baking cookies, it doesn't matter of being perceptive or anything else, because we're going to take these 3 things that you are superior at and we're going to build a work calendar around it. So I'm going to give you an example of what my calendar looks like and how I build it. It's worked for me for years, and hopefully it'll help you as well. So when I take my calendar, it's broken up into basically 5 different categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, being self-employed, let's assume that this is a blank calendar. I determine when I work. I also determine what I make. I also determine how I spend my days. In other words, at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it's on me, and my family cannot eat the type of food that I would like them to eat or live in the place that I'd like them to live in, etc., etc. So the first thing and the first priority on my calendar is the wife. Gentlemen, listen to me very carefully. If she's not happy, you don't have a chance of being happy. So what I like to do is hand my wife the schedule and say, okay, babe, pick your days. The wife's going to say, you know what, I want to do this, I want a date night, I got to do this, I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. Don't say blah, 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 by the way, when you explain this. So, happy wife, happy life. The next thing is family. Now, I have 2 kids personally, and I'm the type of dad that I'm there for everything. I do the field trips, I do all that good stuff, so I get my daughter's schedule at the beginning of the year from her school, and I plug it into my calendar. Personally, I use a Google Calendar. So then I plug in everything for my kids. The next one, and this is something that the wife and the kids need to understand, is after that we have what's called your personal time. Personal time is exactly that. It's whatever you personally like to do. So personal time is usually things that we take the word restore, and the word restore is where we actually get the word rest from. So if you do not take the time to restore or rest, you'll not be at your full capacity. And to be honest with you, I think that number 3 right here, this is the reason why men have midlife crises and have a breakdown. They feel like they live their life for their work and their family and everybody else, and finally they just give up and say, you know what, forget about it. So on my personal days, I like to golf, I like to surf, I like to do what I want to do. They're personal days, I get to do what I want. You'll notice in this priority, I haven't even worked yet. Number 4 is actually my focus days. And my focus days consist of what I am superior at. In other words, what am I better at than anybody else that I know? So those are the days that I cannot get distracted with anybody else's world. And your focus days will usually be between 8 and 10 days a month. In other words, these are the days when, you know what, I can't be distracted. These are my focus days. These are the days that I have to really pay attention to doing what I'm good at. Because what happens is, if your calendar is open, people for some reason know that, and they will fill your calendar with BS. That's why instead of saying, hey, I can do it or I can't, no. On the 18th, as an example, I cannot do it. I already have appointments. I'm booked, etc., etc. The last one is the one that we all dread. This is called our cleanup days. Cleanup days is doing all the things that you do not want to do, but you have to do. In other words, this might be cleaning out the garage, this might be doing your taxes, I don't know, whatever you just go, you know, I don't want to do this. But I know I keep a list that on this day right here, this is my cleanup day. I'm probably going to listen to some music and I'm going to clean my office. Or I'm going to get the car taken care of. Whatever is something you don't want to do, but you know that's your day to get these things done. Now when you do this, and I want to focus real quick because a lot of people watching this video are going to be doing it for work purposes. I learned this from a gentleman, and I'm going to talk about focus days for a minute here. I learned this from a gentleman, and he recruited a lot of people, and this was what he explained to them every day. He said, look, if you want to work with me, this is how it's going to work. You're going to work 3 days a week. So you got Sunday through Saturday. What are your 3 days? And let's say that you picked Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are your focus days. Now what you're going to do is you're going to have 3 appointments on that day. So let's go ahead and do a 9 o'clock appointment, a 1 o'clock, and a 6 o'clock. Same thing on Wednesday. 9, 1, 6. 9, 1, 6. So they're taking the aspect of just like a dentist or a doctor or any other profession, this is when you actually meet with clients. So your goal on the Tuesdays, on the Thursdays, on the Saturdays, on the Sundays is to book these appointments. I do know this. I know the more you're available for somebody, the less they take it serious. And if we're going to really determine and take control of our own life, we have to decide when we're going to work. So my job is to fill these 9 appointments. Now, if you really think about it, you're going to get referrals from other people, but more importantly, you are trying to fill a specific time so that you can have somewhat of a balanced life. So instead of trying to be everything to everybody, we need to have a system where we meet with people and we make these 9 times every week productive. So let's say, for example, that somebody flakes on you for this appointment right here. You need to fill it, or you need to make sure that you spend that time filling the other times. Once again, being busy doesn't mean you're being profitable. So I want you to fill these times with profitable ventures, meeting with meaningful clients, and really clients that are going to be there, and your ideal client, who you really, really want to meet with. So let's talk about that real quick, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I always do an exercise with my students, and I say, look, you're going to get to pick. You got to pick a 10-year time frame. So let's say that you can pick 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Based upon what you choose, it will dictate what products you should offer. So the one that I did today for this gentleman, he chose 30 to 40. And I said, okay, that's cool, 30 to 40. Let's go to the next one. This is what we call a decision tree. You start giving me this information and I'll tell you how to spend your time doing this. So, okay, my next question was, is it your ideal client a male or a female? And he said, you know what? I want to work with females. Okay. Your next question was, is it a business owner? Or would you rather work with an employee? And he chose business owner. And I said, do you want this person married or single? You get to pick your ideal client, guys, and then we'll focus from there. He said married. I said, so what you're telling me is at the end of the day, your ideal client is 30 to 40, female, business owner that is married. Let's think about it for a minute. What type of businesses does a 30 to 40-year-old female business owner who is married own? And then we just started brainstorming. Hair salons, catering companies, things in the pet industry, things in the beauty industry. And then we took all of these different industries. We went on to this website, you've probably heard of it, it's called Google. And then we looked on Google Maps where all these businesses are, and we started with at least a target of who we're going to market to. From there, instead of doing a mailer, it's a matter of hitting up these 100 businesses and getting your message out and seeing if there is really a market there. So I hope this little video will kind of point you in the right direction. I get asked a lot of times a lot of different questions regarding marketing. And I'll tell you what, I think the biggest issue is we're not focusing on who we're looking for. So I hope that helps.